Alexa, I decided to do. Ugh, I decided to do a live today. Now somebody's loud ass car. I decided to do a live today, but now it seems like it all of a sudden got real loud. I wasn't expecting to do this live, right? But I feel like I need to tell my story, right? There were some events that happened the other evening that let me know, after some time processing through everything, I realized it's time to tell my story and some of the details that I haven't necessarily shared before. I realized two things. People feel as though that people don't have people, right? And well, I put it like this: people feel as though because some of us choose to be loners in life, that people don't have people that care for them or care about their story, right? And me being a private person, I have kept certain things about my life over the last 2 years pretty private, right? I've been open about a lot of things, but I've also kept a lot of things private, right? So welcome to Queen TV, your little ray of sunshine in the afternoon time. This is a story time, and I just want to fill you guys in on some things that have been going on, some details that I haven't shared prior to now, and namely a situation that occurred with me the other night. All right. I'm not going to be before you guys long. So, over the course of like the last 2 years, I have gone through a spiritual awakening. So that is no secret to anybody, right? And I feel it necessary to make it clear that over the last 2 years, I have only dealt with two significant people, right? One was the person who I felt like opened me up to the twin flame journey. And the second was the person who I felt is my actual twin, right? Also, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, the reason why I'm sharing my story is because I have been through a lot over the last 2 years. Those of you who follow me on social media, those of you who know me from Facebook, you guys know certain aspects of my story. Since August, certain things I haven't shared, I haven't disclosed. I haven't done, as many lives or things of that nature. And that's basically because in August, let me back up a little bit. Learning about the twin flame journey, meeting this particular person who then led me to study things about twin flames has really opened me up spiritually to a lot of different things, right? And I believe that once you step into who it is that you are to be spiritually, it also opens up, and like I've said before, like it alerts it alerts the kingdom of darkness as well, right? Like, in other words, she woke up, right? So with that being the case, I have been under severe attack, right? Some people related to the person who originally I feel as though woke me up to the twin flame journey, as well as those who are tied to the person who I identify as my twin, right? I have since come to believe that they may know each other. I'm not sure. I've never discussed this with either of them, right? But the person who opened me up to the twin flame journey is aware of the fact that although at one point I thought that he was my twin, he is very well aware of the fact that upon meeting my actual twin, I made him aware of the fact that we were he was a significant soulmate, but that I no longer felt that he was my actual twin, right? However, the relationship was very intense yet brief. So it did open me up to study because of certain things that I went through, experienced. In that time, it opened me up to actually studying the twin flame journey. Okay. All right. So that's a little backstory, right? So the reason why I want to share my story is because the other evening, I took a Uber passenger home, and that passenger actually contacted me back after the ride was over and closed and things of that nature, which anybody who rides with Uber or has driven for Uber knows that Uber does not give out your personal information. Like, your personal phone number is not on the app or anything like that, right? So with coming into the knowledge of my twin flame and this twin flame journey, and also stepping out and beginning to become an influencer, a teacher, someone who exposed things that were going on in the community as it relates to witchcraft and the dark arts and things of that nature, right? And then just also, just opening people up to like different things, right? So, of course, I'm not going to make any apologies for that, because I feel as though a more enlightened life is a more empowered life, right? And it's my desire to see people live in their highest state of being, right? Because that just gives you a better quality of life, right? So the things that I have learned along this journey, I have shared. I have taught about those things. I have studied up on certain things to be able to bring it to those who were on my social media, watched my lives and things of that nature, right? With that being the case, I angered a lot of people, right? I gained a lot of attention, most of it not so good attention, right? But any attention is good attention, right? That's what they say. So anyway, with the dynamics of a twin flame relationship is very spiritual and it's very energetic in nature, right? So with that being the case, there has been a lot of energy work done. And learning about the twin flame journey is what really opened me up to the levels of witchcraft, energy work, black magic, things of that nature, right? Because it's tons of that goes on within twin flame unions, right? Twin flame unions are... they're beautiful and amazing, but with the twin flame journey, basically, if you find, well, twins are one soul, right? Split into two, right? So the toughest thing about a twin flame journey is the fact that you need to be in complete self-love with yourself before you can come into union with your twin, right? Because your twin is the other half of your soul. So you have to love yourself totally and completely in order to be able to energetically come into physical 3D union with your twin. However, you're never disconnected from your twin on the 5D, right? Your higher selves, you and your twin, you guys are always in connection. You guys are always in union. And the biggest thing is being able to ground that union into the 3D, your 3D reality, right? With that being the case, once twins come into contact, like said, we begin to open ourselves up to more spiritual things, right? And with that comes more spiritual attacks, right? So with that being the case, I have been under a lot of attack. I have made different choices in my life. I have chosen to no longer deal with certain people as I began to see who it is that they really were. As I began to gather a following through my social media, I began to see, like, who was really there for me. Whenever I began to express certain things that were going on with me, I got to see, like, who my real friends were, right? A lot of people that attached themselves to me or that I spoke to about personal things that were going on with me in the midst of us conversating and me helping them out and giving them advice and things of that nature. And I realized that a lot of people just drew close to me to find out information and go and do whatever, right? And some people just became plain old jealous, right? I began to activate my past life enemies and all of that shit, right? So people began to think that they were going to basically, continue to do the things that they may have done in a past life, and they were now going to do it in this life, right? So that is what I realized, okay? So with that being the case, there has been tons of gang stalking, tons of people, men, sent my direction to, and what I realize is that a lot of times, like, twins will, if they can get through all of the bullshit of coming into union, it's a union like no other, right? Women become jealous, men become jealous, and that is where we begin to do spell work and things of that nature, right? I also realized as I stepped into who it is that I was spiritually, people also began to play with spell work because they wanted to, I guess, test their spiritual muscles and, see just how tough they were. And people thought that because I'm nice, I'm sweet, I'm love and light, they thought that, like, I was just like a pawn. They thought that they could talk about me, smear my name, spread rumors, lie about who it is that I was, and that they were just, be able to get away with it. And I was just going to be sitting there like all goofy and dumb and not realizing what's going on. And basically everyone who I began my journey with, the people that followed me on Facebook, the people that I would shout out all the time, all my Facebook husbands and all of that kind of stuff, like, basically none of those people are still in connection with me, or basically everybody showed themselves to be the wolves in sheep's clothing that they were, because I realized people only came close to me to see if their magic was working. Some people were, sent to watch me and surveillance me, all of that kind of stuff. I brought out, the baby's moms of the two people that I dealt with. And let me be clear. After meeting my twin, I was no longer really in contact with the person that originally opened me up to the twin flame journey. We would speak here and there. Hey, how you doing? He would try to come over because, it's the best sex ever. Da, 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 blah, blah, blah. You made me feel like this, that, the other. Blah, 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 blah. Right? But after we split, for me, there was no going back. After I met my twin, there was nobody else that I seen, right? So I don't know what he went back and told his people that caused them to be on my page, because I realized once I started going through my friends list, like, I started realizing, like, who was connected to who, and when I was being invited to go places, and I just started realizing that a lot of people were connected to a lot of other people. I'm not from Philadelphia. I don't have any blood family here outside of my children. So I was really at a disadvantage because I didn't know who knew who, and I didn't know these people, right? But me being gifted and just really stepping into my intuitive gifts and believing the messages that God sends me, trusting my discernment, trusting my intuition, I began to weed out who was who, right? And the most shocking thing are the most shocking things are the people that attack me for the person um that originally opened me up to the twin flame journey, because that's not even somebody that I deal with on a consistent basis, right? So let's get to what happened the other night. So like said, I began to energetically, I just really began to see like the level of hate, toxicity, gang stalking, narcissism, smear campaigns, flying monkeys, all of that shit, right? So I began to see those things. I began to recognize the women that were tied to one or two of, one or both of those men. And I began to realize that people were befriending me and, just crazy shit, right? I began to realize that people were doing spell work and they were only on my friends list and on my page and communicating with me to see if the spell work that they were using was working, right? So there's been a lot, like countless amounts of energetic attacks, evil eye, all different sorts of magic, hoodoo, voodoo. Some people have done it themselves. When that wasn't working, they started paying practitioners. They started going overseas and, just trying to use the most powerful magic that they possibly could, because people could not understand why they could not be the author of my demise, right? My soul was promised to certain people. People thought that they were going to get through their initiations by sacrificing me. And let me explain to you guys a little bit about spiritual initiations, right? Some of us are actually gifted. Like we're born with a gift, right? And then some people who also want to utilize those same types of gifts that chosen people are naturally born with, they have to go through spiritual initiations in order to be able to operate as chosen people operate naturally, right? So that is where, certain sacrifices and things of that nature come into play, because it's so that they can level up, so they can be able to manifest and things of that nature, right? People use magic to harvest energy. People use magic to basically try to switch destinies and, put things on you that are not really you, so that they can portray themselves to be pure love and light as I really was, and then to basically try to put their narcissistic, nasty, hoary, prostitute-y, slutty, grimy energy onto me, so that people can see me in that way, in that light, right? But I'm just not that, right? I'm just not that. And because I won't shut up, and because I have a platform, who I am at my truest core has shown through. It's shown through, right? That makes people mad. So people mad about that, right? Niggas mad about the fact that like they didn't get a chance, right? Niggas mad about the fact that like they couldn't take me out. I wasn't interested. They mad, right? Niggas mad because I'm gifted and I'm a woman, and how dare I have all this and that, and I'm a woman, right? People smiling in my face, meanwhile like whole time behind my back like they trying to kill me, right? So my so with the mounting amount of bullshit that was going on, in August, I decided that I needed to move out of my place of residence, right? Because basically, the attempt was to slowly but surely destroy my life piece by piece. My children, my career, my job, where I lived. People wanted me to get fired. So I left the job on my own. People wanted me to get evicted and be put out my house. So I left my house on my own. Since I've left my house in August, at the very end of August, I've basically been on the run, right? Because the plots and things that they set up against me, I became aware of those things, right? So I started to feel as if my safety was no longer, I felt like my safety was in jeopardy, right? So with the level of black magic and things and drama and chaos and lies and rumors and just craziness that was going on, my twin and I were not in consistent contact with each other. And like said, the person who opened me up to the twin flame journey, we also were not in contact except hey, how you doing here and there, right? So I left my house at the end of August, and I basically started renting a room at an Airbnb. I left my job and I started Ubering because I just did not want people to be able to have access to me. I know that there were plots to break in my house, shoot my house up, just it was just so much going on, right? I was invited to go on a podcast by a group of men who later, whenever I decided that I didn't want to come to a party or a photo shoot party or go out of town and hang out of town, and I just, I politely turned down the offer to hang out with them, they in turn were upset. I also was curious as to why it is that they all of a sudden had this interest in me and wanted to put me in movies and wanted me to be a part of their clique. And, so I was just curious. So I just asked, like, well, how do y'all know me? Like, do y'all know my twin, or do y'all know the person that he is dealing with? Because at that time, like said, my twin and I have not been in physical contact with each other. Twin flames are energetically connected. I know that, right? So my twin and I, we communicate telepathically, right? So in the 3D, I released him to handle what it is that he needed to handle in his life, right? Because when you meet your twin, like, your life may not be perfect, right? Like, you may not meet the love of your life at an opportune time where you could just run off into the sunset and just be happy in love, okay? So my twin had things that he needed to handle, take care of, entanglements that he needed to free himself from, family ties, things of that nature, right? So I allowed him the space to do that, right? But I was very aware that all of the attacks that I was under was tied to the fact that, one, I'm a twin, I'm his twin, and then two, just the fact that I decided to wholeheartedly step out into who it is that I was spiritually, right? So I became a threat to the enemy's kingdom. I became a threat to the kingdom of darkness, right? So I understand that. So like said, everybody want to, they want to test their spiritual muscles or whatevs, right? So when I get invited to go onto the podcast, after a while, like when everybody was so Joe and I was such a big deal, and like people want to be FaceTiming me at 7:00 in the morning and all of this, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like nobody has access to me like that, and nobody will. You know what I'm saying? And this person was married, so I'm like, why you calling somebody why you FaceTime and video chatting me at like 7:00 in the morning? Like, you's a whole married man, right? So like, I don't get down like that, right? I wasn't impressed. I wasn't giddy. Like, I didn't care. I wasn't impressed, right? I don't feel the need to show up to every party I'm invited to, every event that I am invited to, every opportunity that's offered to me. Like, I don't feel it necessary to take up every offer. Like, I'm not desperate. Like, I'm not in need of somebody to put me on or put me out there or anything of that nature, right? So when I politely declined, then all of a sudden they all blocked me, right? So like, who knows what that was all about. So basically, like I was saying, I'm like, okay, so like, how y'all know me? How y'all know me? Like, where does interest come from? Like, y'all tied to the person that he's tied to, or y'all know him? Like, what, right? So that also became an issue. Whenever I asked that question, everybody got all offended, right? So anyway, so yeah, so like I said, left my house in August, put my shit in storage, started renting a room at an Airbnb. The plan was Uber, get my money up, move. I was gonna leave the city, etc., etc., right? Due to the fact that my finances have consistently been under attack, every time you turn around, it was always something else that I needed to do. So it is now the middle of January and I'm still renting a room. I never expected in a million years that I would be in this position. But I understand that because my house is beautiful, my home was beautiful, people saw pictures of my home, doing Queen TV After Dark, people were able to see into my bedroom, things of that nature. Like, I understand that, like, those are the things that people attack. And because people are so low vibrational and so jealous and envious, those are the things that they wanted to see be snatched away from me, right? And I'm just going to be very candid and honest. There were a lot of attacks against me, and namely death attacks, right? You like death spells, things of that nature. People play in the graveyard. They dig up graveyard and like just all kinds of shit, right? And then we're not even going to talk about the level of attack that my twin endured, because that man is the shit. Extremely spiritually gifted. Extremely spiritually gifted, right? So all types of attacks to make sure that keep him blocked, make sure he don't know who he is, make sure that he hate me, chaos magic, all of this and that. So it was just better that he and I not try to be in contact with each other on a 3D realm, right? Lies told on my name, just all kinds of shit to like make him hate me. Like what they didn't do with magic, then they turned around and did like with slander, right? And a little bit about love spells and things of that nature. Binding spells. Like, binding spells have been done to keep him bound to this one and bound to that one and bound to family. And this is the thing, like, these attacks are not just like friends and enemies. These are friends, enemies, family, all of that. Because when people don't want to see you live and have a better life because they were a past life enemy as well, like, how dare you move on with your life and find happiness and love? Like, fuck out of here. Like, nah, like, we want your money. We don't want you to love and take care of somebody else, right? So that's been the bullshit that has been going on, right? The person that he bought a house for, has gone above and beyond to make sure that she stays tied and binded to that man, and that I am nowhere in the picture, even if it means she got to kill me in order for that to take place. Like, it's on some like, if I don't have you, nobody can type shit, because now twin is on the scene, right? So things have been crazy, okay? Crazy. So I have survived. I've lived. I haven't gotten sick. I've never gotten COVID. I've never, like, like my health has been Gucci, right? The biggest effects have been financial. But like I told you guys before, I still get up every day and I make money every day. Am I where I want to be financially? No, absolutely, absolutely not. Like, I've been put in a place where it's like every time I do, and it's never anything left over or anything like that, right? And that's what they wanted to see. And they thought that if they could snatch my twin away, that was going to break my heart. They thought if my money was fucked up, that was going to break my heart. They thought if I lost my house, like, that was going to break my heart. They thought if they fucked with my job, like, that was going to break my heart. And the reality is, like, those are 3D things. Like, I'm about as real as they get. And when I say, like, I wear that shit very loosely, like, I wear it very loosely. And people see that. And people are angry. And they're mad that I still show up every day and I'm happy. They can't believe that I'm truly happy. They can't believe that I'm not doing spell work. But that is just karma that they're experiencing for the things that they send out into the universe. They just can't believe it. So they try to hack into my phone, monitor my phone, send monitoring spirits, and all types of craziness, right? So this gets me to the situation that happened the other night. Y'all. So this is the main reason why I need to, this is kind of like, not the main reason, but like this is the last, this is like the last fucking straw, right? So that's why, oh, hold on, y'all. Y'all know my lipstick be playing. They're gonna let me be great. So this was really like the last straw for me, right? So let me see, did I tell y'all everything? All right, so I move out my house, all manners of just craziness, not really craziness, like I've actually been very much at peace. Financially, they've made it hard, and this is just not people that are tied to my twin and the person who opened me up to the twin flame journey, but this also finances also has a lot to do with my family, right? And my jealous ass, bitch ass, corny ass sisters who are always getting kicked out their house and evicted and all kinds of other shit. So now, you know, basically they wanted me to experience the bullshit that they've always had to go through all their fucking lives, right? So my finances have been consistent, but there's been lots of blocks and lots of stagnancy. For example, I left my house. I had my security deposit. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna just bust this out. You know, I'm gonna just bust this out for like 2 weeks, and then like I'll have like 3 stacks, and you know, I'm gonna just move and da 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 da. Soon as I get out, I get a boot on my car, right? So now I gotta pay all my tickets that I ever owned in the city of Philadelphia. That wiped out my security deposit, right? So since then, I have been consistently trying to get to a place where I can get my things out of storage, move. I almost lost my shit in storage. Like, I got behind with my payments. Like, I literally almost lost everything that I own, right? And that showed me just how quickly your life can change. Just how quickly you can lose everything you own, right? But God is good. So, you know, I got past that. I surmounted that mountain. And I just been like chilling. I just been chilling and talking to God and just taking it one day at a time, taking it one day at a time. And I'm just like, it can't be like this always. It won't always be like this. And I basically literally just been like chilling, like taking things one day at a time. I'm not doing no magic on anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. I just wish y'all would stop your bullshit. I'm not mad at anybody. I haven't retaliated on anybody. None of that shit, right? None of it. I don't care about y'all lives. I don't care what goes on with y'all. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I really don't fucking care. Like, I could care less. Bitches want to act like I'm in competition with them when I'm not even paying them no mind. People want to sleep with the person who opened me up for the twin flame journey, because some people did I was done talking to after I met my twin don't even realize that, like, that nigga ain't even it. But you know what I mean? Like, they doing all kinds of tricks and flips and, you know, all kinds of shit to, like, spite me. But, like, you can't spite me if I don't care, and you can't compete with me if you don't compare, right? So that leads me to the other evening. So like said, I changed my phone number. No, about 5 people have my phone number, right? One of those people includes my twin. One of those people includes the person who opened me up to the twin flame journey. Because energetically, I can feel when people are in my energy, and I can feel that pull, right? So I gave the person who opened me up to my twin flame journey, I gave him a little play just to see what the fuck, nigga? Like, what is you, like, what? Like, you all up under my shit with the hard eyes, but yet nobody want to tell the truth about what the fuck is really going on, or what the fuck they've really done. Like, nobody want to tell the truth about who was in cahoots and who put money on my head and, like, all of that shit. So, like, I play him close a little bit to see, like, what's goody in the hoodie. Basically, you let me know you on the same bullshit you always been on. So, chuck the deuces, block that nigga. He can't even get in contact with me, right? The only other people that have my phone number is my twin and my children, right? So, I do the Uber the other night. Now, mind you, there's one other event that happens in the Uber. In October, I pick up a passenger, little white boy from South Philly. I pick him up and I'm taking him to 2nd and Girard or somewhere around there. We in a car. I'm on Columbus Boulevard, about to pull onto 95. And some car that's in the right lane swerves out and, like, almost hits these other cars, and they're about to swerve in front of me. So I'm coming full speed, so I blow my horn, because I'm basically like, I'm not about to swerve. Like, nigga, like, you gonna sit still and then you can swerve over after the fact. So didn't think nothing of it. Got on 95, go up 95, come off the Girard exit, come down a little further. Next thing you know, we at the light. Some car pulls over, crashes up on the curb. I'm like, oh shit, right? Like, I'm about to jump out the car, but I'm in my seatbelt. These motherfuckers get out the car and mug the dude in the back seat at gunpoint. I'm like, by then, I'm already hyper vigilant, because I'm just, like, already kind of, like, looking over my shoulders or whatever. The odd part about that, this dude is totally, like, cool. Like, he's not shook up or nothing. Like, I'm shook up as ever. Like, your girl, like, jumped out. The only thing that kept me from being out this car and down the street is the fact that, like, I was in my seatbelt. This dude is totally calm. And I'm like, I'm so sorry that happened. And he's like, oh, well, you know, that was a red flag. So I'm like, what in the way? He was like, yeah, it was the guys who cut us off, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. right? So then I did recognize that, it was like the same car or whatever. So after it's all said and done, I'm just like, yo, like, I really could have got killed today. And this dude is like cool and calm. So I'm like, the fuck? Like, is this a setup? Somebody tracking my car? They tracking my phone? Like, what's really going on? Because to me, it didn't make no sense. But the thing is this, like, y'all can't kill me. Like, that's just it. Like, y'all can't kill me. So if the bullet was meant for me, if I was supposed to get shot, like, y'all can't kill me. Like, I know my angels was just like, nigga, try it if you want to, if you wanna, right? So I get through that situation. So I'm like I'm a little shook up for like a couple of days, right? So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I'm like, yo, let me just shut down. Like, at that point, I was on TikTok. At that point, I had shut down my Facebook because it was just too much drama, negative energy, gang stalking, all of that. I had shut down my Facebook. I was on TikTok. My numbers was going crazy on TikTok. That inspired, that highlighted some more enemies, right? And I just basically was like, yeah, like, let me just shut down for a little bit. Shut down and shut people out, right? So that shook me up for a couple of days. But then I was just like, yo, like, I'm not about to live in fear. Like, I'm not here to be in fear. Like, I'm not here to be frightened. I'm not here to be bullied in the 3D or in the 5D, right? Like, nobody that's coming up against me ranks higher than me. It's clear with the fact that y'all pulled out the biggest witches, warlocks. Y'all traveled across countries and everything to have people do work on me, and it hasn't affected me, right? So clearly, y'all don't outrank me spiritually. And nobody that y'all hire outranks me spiritually, right? However, that's pretty shady, right? So I'm like, damn. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. I know what I know. Like, that was a little odd. So let's skip to the other night. Like said, nobody has my phone number except about 5 people. And one of those people is blocked. They don't have access to me. I pick up a Uber ride in South Philly. I drive this person to the Northeast. So he gets in a car, and I guess the alias, which this isn't his real name, but the name on the Uber was King, right? Right? So we talking, like, we busting it up. Like, normally when I'm in an Uber, like, I could tell y'all how many people that I actually conversate with in the Uber. Like, when they get in, I'm like, hey, how are you? Da da da. But I don't have long conversations. Like, most people, they get in the Uber, like, they don't want to talk, and I'm fine with that, because 9 times out of 10, like, I got my Bluetooth in my ear and I'm listening to something, so, like, I ain't really with the talking either. So he get in and he real chatty. He's watching Power. So then he started telling me how, he him and his friends just went in on a licensing for weed or whatever. And he just starts going into, like, details about, growing it and where you can buy the land, and that there's land in AC, and that he lives in AC at the Caesar, da 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 da. And he just was talking, like, he was street, he was hood, but he was talking that business talk, right? Which I can admire in a black man, because I feel like there's not enough of us that utilize our genius to get us ahead. Like, we want to get our money, we want to spend it on frivolous shit, and then we don't got nothing to show for it, right? So we sitting there and we having a conversation, we busting it up about that, right? So We get to the Northeast. He asked me to stop at Chick-fil-A, even though Chick-fil-A wasn't necessarily, a stop that was in the Uber. So we grabbed the Chick-fil-A, like we talking, whatever, whatever. So then I started sharing like certain things. I'm like, yeah, like I'm really feeling what you saying. Like that's a lot of like what my message is, da 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 da. So we started talking about platforms and things of that nature or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, da da da. This has been like my experiences and da 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 da, right? So everything cool, blah, blah, blah. I drop him off. I click out of the Uber app. So once you click out of the Uber app, they don't have access to you anymore, right? So I pick up another ride, drop her off, and like I'm on my way home. So I get a call from him from a 415 number, right? Typically the dummy number for Uber is like a 445 number. So at first, I ignored it. Like, who was this odd number calling me from California at like 8? So I ignore it. I'm on the phone with my daughter. So then the number called back. So I answer, and it's my Uber passenger. So he's like, did I leave a black something something bag in the back, right? So I look in the back, and it's his weed, right? So it's like the ounce, the size of like the ounce bag. So I'm like, yeah, like actually it is. But like a part of me was just like, oh my God, like I had a whole nother passenger in here and like this weed is in my back seat. So I'm like, yeah, it is. So I was like, he was like, are you still in the area? I'm like, actually I am. Like I would have been home, but like I accidentally took another ride so I was like, I'll swing it back past or whatever. So because it came in as a 415 number from California, I'm just assuming that he's calling through Uber, although in my head I kind of was like, normally Uber don't let you contact the customer and vice versa, because I've had people lose their stuff in my car and I wasn't even that far, and I would call Uber like, what's the house number for my last trip, because they forgot their such and such, and I'm gonna spin it back to them, right? So I know it's like a long rigmarole because they won't give you that information, right? So I knew this in the back of my head, but I'm like, all right, da da da, like I'll bring it. I'm like, what was the address? So he give me the address, but he asking like the people in the background, like, what's this address? So he give me the address. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm like 11 minutes away. So he was like, and I was like, you want me to call you back on this number? Like, is this your number or is this the Uber number? So he was like, what the number say? And I'm like, 415. He was like, oh yeah, no, that must be the Uber John. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, well, what's your number? Like, I'll hit you up whenever I get outside. Cause it's like it was like a high rise, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm like 11 minutes away. So when I get like 6 minutes away, he called and was like, how far away are you? I'm like, now mind y'all, when he gave me his number, like he even sounded like unsure about whether he knew his number. But I don't know. I know like sometimes like if like, I don't know, like maybe if it's a new number, like maybe you don't remember your phone number. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? No judgment here. So, but I peeped that, right? So like I peeped the fact that, all right, so boom. So then when I get like 6 minutes away, he called and was like, how far away are you? And I'm like, I'm still like 6 minutes away. But I'm thinking like, nigga, why is you calling me? Like I told you I would call you whenever I get there. Like, it's cool. Like, just chill, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm like 6 minutes away. He's like, cause it's cold out here. I'm like, well, go back in and I'll call you whenever I get downstairs. No biggie. So he was like, all right. He was like, and when you get here, like, I'm going to cash app you for, like, bringing it back. And I'm like, yeah, good. Because I was about to go to the mall. You fucking up my being able to go to the mall time. So, like, okay. So I get there. and he's like standing like in the lobby or whatever. So he comes out, and I just point, because at this point it's like behind me, and I'm not about to get out my car and do, you know, I ain't about to get out my car and do shit. So I'm like, it's in the back. At that point, I'm on the phone with my daughter. So he opened the car. He get the, he grabbed the bag or whatever. So he was like, "What's your Cash App?" So I give him the Cash App, and I was like, "All right, thank you." You know what I mean? Like I'm like in Uber mode. Like I'm ready to go and get home. And so so he was like, "Did you get it?" And I'm like, so I check it. I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." And I'm like, "All right, thank you, da da da." So that's done, right? So then, like, maybe like 5 or 6 minutes later, I get a call from the Uber number, and he was like, "Next time I'm gonna let you taste a piece," or something like that, right? Now, mind y'all, since I've left my house in August, like my budget don't support my weed habit, right? So I haven't been smoking, right? So I'm like, but then the call drops, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I was going to pick with him and be like, "You should have let me check." You know what I mean? Like, if y'all the dispensary, like, you should have broke me off a piece, like, But anyway, I didn't say that, and I didn't think nothing of it, right? So the call dropped. So I'm driving, and at first I don't think nothing of it. So then I'm like, did he mean to call me? Like, what? Like, that's odd. So, and it was odd because then all of a sudden, like, the call just like dropped. So that was kind of like weird or whatever. So, needless to say, I never heard back from him. Mind you, as we're talking, before he gets out the car, he's like, "What's your do you have like Facebook or social media or anything like that?" And I'm like, "I only got Instagram." So so he was like, "What's your IG?" So I give him the IG. Now, mind you, there's not often that I even have a conversation with my customers, let alone like a person that like I'm talking business with, right? So I give him the IG or whatever. So it's cool, like whatever. So go home or whatever the case may be. So then I started thinking like about the whole Uber number thing, right? So in the morning, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna call Uber just to see like if they, if they actually allow him to call me back. Cause like now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm real careful, and I'm real particular about people being in my space and shit, right? Because since I've been back on Instagram, I got so many fake accounts watching my stories, bitches sending me like profiles with like naked bitches and titties and ass, cause y'all hope that I'm gay, or y'all want to turn me gay or some dumbass shit like that. So like I'm real particular, like I don't play the DM or nothing like that. So when he got out the car and was like, I'm gonna hit you up in your DM, I wanted to be like, I don't even fuck with the DM. He was like, I'll send you some stuff. So since we was talking business and monetizing and things like that, I'm like, all right. So never, didn't get a follow or anything like that. Now, me being me, like I know that like if we was talking and going back and forth, like most people, like most dudes, like they gonna go on your Instagram immediately, like they gonna follow you immediately, right? So crickets, no follow, nothing, right? So like although this sound crazy, like even that was odd, right? So The next thing you know, I end up getting a follow like in the afternoon. So I'm like, yo, you know what? Let me call Uber and see. And of course, like the account is private, and you got Psalms 23, and I just got done teaching about Psalms 23. So so anyway, I call Uber and I'm like, hey, da da da. I just need to know, like, typically, like, if a person, I got a question about a trip. If a person forgot something in the car during a trip, if they called y'all and let them and reported it lost, would y'all give our number for them to be able to call us? Right? No. The answer is no, right? So I'm like, can you check my trips and see if this particular trip at this particular time, if somebody called and reported anything lost, right? They check it, nobody called. Okay. So I'm like, how this motherfucker got my number? Like my personal number, right? So me being me, I was like, let me call one more time. Like, let me just call and get another person on the line and see if the other person tell me the same thing, right? So I call and they're like, yeah, no, they, you know what I mean? They shouldn't be able to call. Like, once you close out the trip, like, they don't have access to you, da-da-da, right? So who was this motherfucker in my Uber who then turned around 30 minutes later and called my phone? Only 5 motherfuckers in this world got my phone number. So who is this nigga? Who sent him? Who sent him? Who sent him? That's the question. That's the question of the hour. That's the purpose of this live. Who sent that nigga? Like, y'all gonna play me that close that, like, now y'all going, like, now y'all tracking my location and sending me false stage Ubers and all of that shit. And to that, I'm gonna say, nice try. But who sent that nigga? Like, y'all getting, like, y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. So that's why my post say today, like, yo, I will lay my life down. Like, I will tell my spaceship, yo, beam me up, Scotty, before I ever die at the hands of a coward. So I don't know who sent that nigga, but all I'm gonna say is nice try. And quit playing with me. Like, for real. Like, y'all done lost y'all motherfucking minds out here. Y'all think because spiritually the attacks didn't work that now y'all gonna send, like, I'm done. Like, I'm done being scared. I'm done. I'm done. But y'all can consider yourself seen. I don't know if it's some bitter ass niggas that sent them. I don't know if it's a group of y'all and that nigga was the most bout it. Like, I don't know who made that nigga a sitting duck. But trust and believe, like, God is not taking any of this bull crap. God's not taking any of this shit lightly. He's not taking any of this shit lightly. And let me just say for the record, I ain't doing no magic. I'm not doing anything but letting God handle it, because all of this shit, like everything that, like, I just talked about and I explained in this live, like, I did not deserve any of it. Any of it. I pop out and try to love and help the community I'm a good mom. I got kids to raise. My daughter should not have had to come home from college and stay with her mom in a room in an Airbnb. But I took all that shit on the chin and I still show up loving light. And I'm genuinely happy, and you motherfuckers can't believe that I'm really genuinely happy and at peace. Like, I'm God's child. Like, he keeps me and he protects me. And I know at the end of the day, like, everything is always gonna work out for me. Like, I know that. So I don't have any reason to be heartbroken, to be depressed, or any of that. So y'all can run tell that. Like, y'all can run tell that. Like, this live is a to whom it may concern. For all the motherfuckers that make fake profiles and watch me and stalk me and all of that kind of stuff, here's the motherfucking tea. Like, here's the tea. And for whoever that sent that nigga that actually got in my fucking Uber, like I'm supposed to be scared? Like, I'm supposed to be scared now? Like, I mean, what? Like, I'm supposed to be shaking in my boots? Like, what? Y'all just let me know how low down and sinister y'all are. So either y'all tapping my phone or y'all locating me through Spellwork using monitoring spirits and all of this shit. But let me just say, I'm serving y'all warning. Y'all have been seen. And I don't have to do nothing but continue to sit on this throne with this crown on my head like I've been doing. Y'all want to fight me? Y'all want to attack me for what? Like, for real, like, I wrote something and I posted it on my community board. Like, yo, y'all bitches and y'all bitch ass niggas, like, whatever the fuck y'all want from me, y'all can have it. Like, I'm not... Yo, like, I'm a different type of person. Like, I don't give a fuck about the shit y'all give a fuck about. I don't care about status, fame, clout, money, none of that shit. Like, I'm not here for that. Like, I'm here to enlighten, uplift, push people, make people feel good about themselves. And I told God, like, if I can't do my job, like, you can just beam me up, because what I'm not about to do is sit around here and play with y'all. Because I don't even care about the shit that y'all care about. Like, whatever y'all want, y'all can have it. Y'all want my leftover, like, y'all want the dick, y'all can have it. Y'all want the fame, y'all can have it. Y'all want the crown, y'all can fucking have it. But I guarantee y'all couldn't walk one day in my fucking shoes. Y'all couldn't walk one day in my fucking shoes. Because, yo, I handled this shit like a fucking beast. And I still sleep peacefully at night. Peacefully at night. All you hoes running around trying to clone me and act like me. So what wants me will want you. Like, bitch, you couldn't walk a day in my shoes. You couldn't. Nobody that I know could, except maybe my twin, I don't know, could go through the level of shit that I've gone through and still show up the way that I show up every single fucking day. Like, none of y'all could. And I know that for a fact. So I'm putting this live out here because guess what? Like, this is my life. This is my life. This is my life. And those are the details those are the details of what I've been through over the last year and a half that I didn't necessarily disclose. So now y'all know everything. Now y'all know everything. She moved out her house. She put her shit in storage. She's staying in a room at an Airbnb. Y'all still sending motherfuckers to assassinate me. The shit's not gonna work. I'm still going to be loving light. I'm still going to be great. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. Y'all still going to wake up one day and I be the fuck Oprah. Like, all of that shit. So this live is just to serve notice to the devil, to the enemy, and to my enemies that, like, y'all not stopping shit. Y'all not stopping shit. And the fact that y'all would dare to play me that close, The fact that y'all would dare to pay me that close. Woe unto y'all. That's all I got to say. And I don't got to do shit but sit here and look pretty and be who it is that God sent me to be in this planet. And that's it. Like, everything works out for me. Like, that's like the end of the story is everything works out for me. Like, the end. Y'all want to know what's going on? How it is that I do what I do? I get up every day and I fucking Uber and I go home at night. I spend time with my daughter. I wake up in the morning and I fucking Uber and repeat. And repeat. Like, that's it. It ain't no spell work. I'm not fucking nobody else. I'm not getting money from nobody. I'm not prostituting. Like, none of that shit. This is my diary. Open book. Right? So maybe y'all can quit stalking me and lying on me and all of that shit, because you got it straight from the horse's mouth today. All right? So yeah, so anybody that's concerned, friend, family, foe, whoever the fuck. And people probably like, why is she still talking about it? Because you motherfuckers is still in the background doing bullshit. And don't act like you ain't. Nobody's going to make me feel like I'm crazy. Nobody's going to say that I'm crazy. Nobody's going to put more bodies on me than nobody's going to put more bodies on me than I got. I've been with 2 people in the last 2 years. Like I said, y'all couldn't walk one day in my shoes. Y'all couldn't. And that's why I love me, because I'm the shit. I'm the shit. And I've lived through some shit that, like, many other people would not have been able to live through. And guess what? I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of not one thing that I have gone through. So that's why I don't have a problem sharing my story, letting y'all know what's good. This is the live of all lives. Like, now y'all know. So for those that was wondering, for those that was asking, now you know. For that motherfucker that got in the back of my Uber for whatever reason that you did, like, I guess you was gonna hit me up later, and then they was gonna go back and tell my twin, and I don't know what the fuck. Maybe y'all was gonna lure me somewhere and kill me, like other people have tried to do whenever I was on Facebook. Like, who knows? Because y'all all done tried it. Y'all done tried so much bullshit, and I've dodged every fucking bullet. And I will continue to dodge every fucking bullet. Because, like I said, and I'll end with this, I would willingly lay my life down before a coward motherfucker be allowed to take me out of here. All right? I love y'all. Peace.